live and we're ready here. Let's make sure we're recording. There's the cat. That's beautiful. And now here's Big D coming at you because we're here laying it down with Big D. And I'm your host, Big D. You know this one. And today I've got my good friend and North American land goer, land legend, land enthusiast, and Counter-Strike, North American Counter-Strike Advanced legend, Will Aelor, and I forgot to clarify your last name with you, but I'm going to grip it and rip it on this. Africano?
Yeah, that's it.
How are we doing today, Will?
We are doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And for those of you at home, I already talked to Will about this. He's actually not in New York, but is from there originally. How long did you live in New York for?
Since I was born to 20 and 2019.
How old are you now?
I am 22.
22 years old. This man was so Counter-Strike is older than you.
Yeah,
Wow.
unfortunately. Never got to play any of those, like, early games, 1.6 or nothing.
Okay, well, this is a good segue though. When did you get to Counter-Strike? Like what were your earliest memories of gaming, and how did it
Yeah.
lead you over there to Counter-Strike?
I started gaming when I was, like, probably, like, 10, 11, playing, like, MW2, Black Ops 2, MW3, like all those shooters. And then one of my brothers had a computer, and I used to just like annoy the shit out of him just to get on the computer because he used to play Minecraft. And eventually I got my own PC, probably like 13, 14, and started playing Minecraft, like Hunger Games, building my own server, all that stuff, like early on. Um, and then probably like 2016, 2017, I moved to like the shooters of like the PC shooters. And I think one of like the first games me and my friends played was Counter Strike, or like, one of the early games, CS:GO. And I sucked so damn bad. I wasn't even a part of like the five stack that would play competitive CS:GO. I used to get like, yeah. So I think that was originally why I wanted to get like really good at CS, was to like prove to them that I could be in the five stack. So I grinded from like silver one to Ellie, like probably in like a 6, 8 month span. And
Wow. How
yeah,
old were you?
uh, I think like 15 or 16.
Okay,
So I was
that's
still
the
like,
prime age to do that.
yeah,
But that's the
yeah,
prime age for absorbing a lot of new information and putting it into practice without realizing it.
yeah. I think CS was like the first game I ever like grinded hardcore, because I was like, I really want to get good at this. Like I never was like that for like Minecraft or like Black Ops. Like that was like more like fun games, but CS was definitely like that one game I grinded. But after hitting LE in CS, I went to ESEA, and I played for like I played 2 or 3 seasons, one season for an open team, and I did like eh, you know. And then I went to an IM team, played like 4 or 5 games out of the season, quit, only played pugs, and then went to a main team for like 8 or 9 games. And then after that, I was like, I don't know what it was, but I just didn't want to play the game anymore. I became like much more like, it was during my high school. So like that's when like everyone's going out, it's like parties 24/7. So that's when I like kind of stopped playing CS and just like didn't really care about my PC for like about a year. And in like 2018, 19, I don't know when Valorant came out actually. Whenever Valorant
2020.
came out, yeah, like 2020 is when I started playing Valorant, like, cause like it was new, and I was kind of like not tired of CS, but all the same people who were like I played CS:GO Pugs with years ago, um, all played Valorant, and all were switching. So, um, I made the switch as well, and I loved it originally, and then like after a year or two, I grinded to like Immortals. I don't remember how the ranks go. I know it's like different. Like Immortal 3, I think is higher than Immortal 1. I don't remember,
It
but
goes 1, 2, 3. 3 is the highest of the
highest.
rank.
So yeah, so I was Immortal 3. I was like top 1500 at some point, and just like how in ESEA you had to like grind like 100 to 200 pugs in like that month to actually get into rank G. I just never had like the I'm gonna grind 10 pugs a day to go and get this rank. So I never got Radiant. I never got rank G, but I was always like I was A plus in ESEA and then Immortal 3. Like I was always like right there to getting like those top ranks. I just could never pug for 300, 200 pugs in that month. It never like I don't know. People like Andre or Sanzik like are crazy to me. Or like Donk who like play like 8 pugs a day.
That's a
I
lot. I mean, I know what it's like to like sit and play like 10, 12, 15 pugs in a day, but like if I do that the next day, I'm
it's
only
just
playing a maximum of like 5 pugs maybe, and they're going to be spread out. I'm not marathoning the game day in, day out
yeah,
for
but those
weeks on end.
that's what those people do. So I just couldn't do that. But after my Valorant kick, I just got done with college or with my second semester of college, and um I played Valorant for like 2 years. Um and after my second semester of college, I just came home and one of my friends was playing Counter-Strike again, and I don't know, but when I played it, it just felt so nice. Like the movement felt so nice. This was like CS:GO, like right before it was about to die or not die, but like they were changing the game.
About to evolve.
Yeah. So it was like the last ESEA season of CS:GO, and um I was like, all right, I gotta play again because it was like it just felt good to play again. And I did my first main season of CS:GO like since being back, and I thought I did pretty good for like just starting to be back again. And we I think we broke up after that season, and then CS2 came around. And the first season I played with I think this main team for 2 seasons. I don't even remember what their names were to be honest. But after those 2 seasons, I did like really well in main. For like the positions I was playing. I was playing like lurk and anchor and consistently top fragging all that. And I got my first advanced offer in like 2023-ish, 2024, and it was the team with Anthony who was like subbing in for like half the season, and he also had a friend with him named Oates. And after that season, we were kind of done with like, or one of the teammates was like retiring from CS for good, and the other one we just like weren't vibing with. So he asked me to start a team, and that is the Height Gaming roster. So with Comatose, Static, Grimbly, and Anthony and me. So that's
Anthony
basically
is Ianu for those
yeah,
of
yeah,
you at
yeah.
home.
Sorry.
We're all on a first name basis here. I think it's important to use your first names. Like, I was making my friends laugh last night because I was playing a premiere game with the guy they knew, and I just assumed they knew him. So I was like, "Hey, what's your name?" And he tells me, and I was like, "I'm Andrew," and I was like calling him by his name during the game, and like my friends were laughing at me because they were like, "We didn't even know his name." Like, but honestly, I introduced myself to him and started using his name, and he instantly like changed how he was like playing
Hey,
with me in the game because I was connecting with him instead of being another force that he had to
yeah.
like prove or anything like that like we do online. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
yeah. Well, and what was your experience like with height gaming? How was that?
Uh, it was it was
They're nowhere to
amazing
be
for
seen
them.
in the CS scene anymore.
Yeah. Um, it was amazing. I think it was like the first team that I had felt like I had like I don't know, I felt like the sky was the limit with that team. Especially going through Maine. I know Maine's not crazy, but
No, but you guys like dominated
yeah,
Maine like explosively.
for no like when we went into that qualifier to get into Maine, like we had no practice at all. Like we had picked up Grimbly from pugging. Like we just knew he was a pugger and he kind of slotted into that role really well. Comatose was like a package deal with Static. They were coming from an IM team, and we Anthony knew Static from like previous ESEA teams, and Anthony had like enjoyed playing with that previous season in advanced. So I don't know. It just felt so easy. It felt like every game was like a 13-3, 13-2. Like and we had like max 10 plays on each like map, you know? Like 5 CT plays, 5 D plays, and we would just run them over and over in like some sort of succession, you know, like switched up. And it was just so easy. Even in playoffs. Like we had some I think the SN Comets game was like sort of close. Um which they always give us a close fight. Um but it just felt so easy going through those games. Even in the finals that we lost, I think we didn't even get a map, even though we were up one map going through the uppers. Um, I think it was individually the best I've felt and gave me a lot of confidence that like a lot of the teams that were like destroying were advanced teams that were like that were getting put up into the next season. So it it was very it did a lot for my confidence and confidence in the team and myself, I would say.
Well, and when was the first time that you got to play on land? Because I know you've been to a Rowan before, and I think you've even won a Rowan before.
Yeah, so I was on LAN um I think when I was on the advanced team, I went to that was the first time I went to a LAN, the Frag Kansas City, the one that was not the official Frag.
Not Frag 18, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Frag Kansas City, wherever that was a
Yep,
year or two ago.
yep. And um I did well-ish. I got to playoffs and like my first ever HLTV, but we played Elevate in the first round. The Snav that roster. Um and when we got destroyed like 13-7, 13-6. Um but it was like fun. It was like the first time I was like getting into the group stages to qualify, like those are always the fun games because they're always like close. Everyone wants to go into playoffs, and I think it was like one of like the best matchups for us. We played Amp. I don't know if it was Amped Red or like their official advanced roster, but it was a close game, like 13-10. You know, like it was like a 2-1. I don't remember the rest of the scores, but that was the first time I went to LAN. And then the Rowan lands that we won were into like later uh iterations of the Zomblers or villainous Zomblers roster.
Sorry, I'm watching my cat over here. Momo,
Very good.
what are you doing over there, buddy? He's playing with the blinds and knocking them around. Momo. Anyway, well, dude, well, talk more about like what the differences was for like what was it like playing on land for the first time and like it was I know dominating team like punching up and dominating teams above your weight class is a really good feeling and a huge confidence booster. Did you feel the same way going into LAN or once you played on LAN?
Yeah, I think the Rowan lands are a little bit different than like a Frag 19 or like the Kansas City land. Um, although there's good players in the Rowan lands, they're like mixed teams, you know, like they're never like a full team. I think the only full team we've played against at like a Rowan land was um the old Redacted Society roster. Um but like I don't know. I don't want to sound cocky, but like it's never been like hard games. I think our last round was the hardest because it was a pretty good roster. I think it was two SN Comet players, a Wanted Goons player. I don't remember who it was, but that was a good team and I think they were up like 10-4 on us on the last map and we came back. So like they could have won. But I don't know, with like Jackro, Toasty, and Batspeed, who really doesn't even play Counter Strike like competitively anymore. Um, I don't know. I think Jackro and Toasty are advanced players. They just have gotten screwed multiple times, you know.
Hundred
Um,
percent.
so yeah, no, they're. I mean, they're also a lot, not a lot better, but like their LAN experience, so they're never gonna have the nerves of like a new LAN player. So um, yeah, it's fun. The delays aren't fun, but those are fun.
Delays suck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but when you're playing at like Frag 19, uh, it's a lot more like I don't know. There's a lot more on the line, and that's when people get nervous, and that's when like you get those upsets. That's why I feel like at Frag 19 there was a lot of upsets like in the groups that I was not expecting, and I guarantee like 90% of it is from like nerves, scared to like not do well. Um, but I don't know, like beating Take
playing
Flight.
not to lose, playing
Yeah,
not to lose instead of playing to win.
yeah, but like winning Rowan will never beat the feeling of beating Take Flight at that frag. It it was like or Tsunami. Those were like two of like the best feelings I've had. Take Flight because they had knocked us out of playoffs, and Tsunami just because they're a good ECL team. You know, like um yeah, that's it. They're just a good ECL team that we were just like really happy to be, especially in a 2-0. Though it was late for both of us and they just gone through a BO3, so
Yeah, that's right. You guys played that like ultra late match. That
yeah.
one was even still going on when I left that I think that was the second night, right?
Yep.
On Friday. Yeah, yeah, you guys were still finishing map 2 when I was like, all right, you guys don't need me anymore. I'm going over there, passing out.
Yeah,
Yeah, that.
it was games that should not have gone into overtimes too. Like
uh,
it was one of those that like I don't know if it was like how far the map was going, but we were at 12 for so long and just couldn't pull it over.
Come on,
Um
Momo.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the difference between LAN and online is very big.
It is a big difference. Like you you think it can't be that big of a difference, but no. In a game like Counter Strike, there is a that literally comes down to milliseconds. This cat, dude. Um, it is a massive difference. That like I played that test match at Frag 19, and that was just goofing off as a 10-man essentially for a best of 3. That was my first time experiencing it on LAN after nearly 14,000 hours of the game.
Yeah.
It is a big difference. Just for one, you point your crosshair at a person and the shot fucking goes
Hit.
directly on them. There's
Yeah.
no where did my shot go?
Mhm.
Like that's a big deal. But yeah, dude, you're not wrong though. The fatigue of like delays and wait until you go, dude. You should have seen in Frag Vegas earlier this year. There was like I want to say it was like a 6 or 7 hour delay for map 1 for match 1 across the board because of power issues.
Yeah.
And like Frag 19 was actually like I was like, man,
Oh, it
this
was
is going
perfect.
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, the place was definitely set up for it, but yeah, dude, the fatigue can set in. Well, let's segue a little bit here. We've talked about the Big Willie style land in Counter Strike story here, and that's obviously what we're here for. I gotta be careful with my shorts, make sure I'm not flashing anybody on cam over here. Uh, but I want to talk a little bit more in broader terms about NACS in general. What from your perspective do you feel like are some of the things that like what are some of the issues in NACS either now that you've played on LAN and you've played online for a little while? What should we be doing as a region to get ourselves back to winning some tier 1 events?
Oof. Um
Easy question, I know.
yeah. I saw someone talk.
There's no right or wrong answer here, by the way.
Yeah. I think I have a fine answer.
I'm
Um
sure you do.
I think I think NACS is sort of in a weird place right now because like Mongolia, right? They're really good, but they have no player base, right? They they have all their good players on one team, you know? Like and it's cuz there's such a small player base that they can do that and they have one org that like will pay for that. But in NACS, you have a lot of orgs. The buyouts are kind of they're not like as fucked as Brazil or like any of those like South American teams, but you can't really like put a stacked roster in NA, you know? Like a Liege, fucking Twist, fucking Lake, like you can put like JBA, I'll put him there too. We don't really have an opper or like a really really good IGL, but you can make a, a dream roster in NA and they'd be competing tier 1, but we don't have an org that will pay for that, obviously. Um and I think NA will just like continue until we get a bigger player base or more orgs that will help the smaller teams kind of like climb that ladder. I think we'll just continue to see like the complexity roster moves of like picking up, which I'm fine with. I actually support it because you're at least giving new players like a chance to go tier one, but it's never you're never gonna have like a lake like outcome every time, you know? And especially if now you're bringing in two players, like both might fail. Like Nick X and Sixty have looked good, or Nick X has probably looked better than Sixty, but like it's definitely not to the effect of Lake or JBA, you know? Um and they're just gonna have to keep trying this until somehow we get lucky and they're paying, you know, pennies for a really good player until they get their next contract, and they can go spend on you know, some European player to come play with us or play with, you know, a North American roster and have like a really good like NA mix, cuz there's never going to be a full NA roster anymore, which I think I'm okay with. I like the mixed teams, but it's, you know, it's it's a good and bad because now those NA players are never going to get the chance. So that's sort of what I think. I think there's just we're in like the middle like ground. Like we're not like Mongols where we can just pick every good player and be a tier one team, because like that would happen if we built all the NA, you know, an NA org just with all good NA players. Um, and EU has all the org support and all the players there, so that's why they constantly turn out talent. Um, so yeah, that's sort of what we could do better though. I mean, it's unrealistic. You know, it's more org support, which means people throwing up money for, you know, like you don't know if you're gonna get even like 1% of your investment back. Um, we need more players that, you know, you can't do without, I don't know, advertising it. Um, and more lands. I think that's also, you know, sort of unrealistic, but I see a lot of more lands popping up, which I'm happy about. But more lands, so like this, you know, like main IM players can just go fucking get the LAN experience. Don't have to feel nervous again when you go to LAN for like one of those Frag 19s. You know, that was like a problem for one of my teammates at Frag 19. He had never been to a LAN, and he just gets thrown into the fire of LAN with tier one teams. And you know, like if he's not a better player, I don't think, you know, we make it as far.
He
So
is a very dominant player, so he did fine, I
yes,
think. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely nerve wracking just getting hurled into one of these numbered frag events that are up to 64 teams. And this one had a decent turnout, 36 teams, two
yep.
Polish teams, two Brazilian teams. You know, there's a bunch of ECL teams that are there. Like it was no joke. You did great, young Anthony. If you're watching this, should be
You
very
did.
proud of yourself. We're all very proud of you. I personally, I I only get scared when I play online. I'll tell you what. I think that if
Online?
I went, yeah, if I'm at if I'm at LAN, I'm gonna. I've been gaming for 35 years, buddy. Like,
Yeah.
if I can see how young you are compared to me across the way, or I know how young you are across the way, or I see you wearing a jersey and I'm just chilling with my buddies playing video games, it's you that should be scared of me. Now, for anyone out there watching this, someday I will go play at a LAN and I will get my reality check, okay? Or I will be the savior of NACS, one or the other. There's no in between. But like, I do get it. It's uh, you know, it's nerve wracking to go have like a new experience like that.
Not at your setup, you know? That's I think
Yeah,
one of the biggest things for people. It's very hard for them to like, you know, you're not gonna have the ESL like event where they have like the adjustable desks and like the perfect monitors. Like it's never gonna be like that. Um, I had a conversation with my teammate, sort of like about how you practice before a LAN to like get you ready for like those uncomfortable like desks or monitors, like that are like too close or too far. Um, so yeah, that it's a big thing. Like it's if you're going to your first LAN and it's something big, it's very hard to perform with like all those like different things that could be affecting you.
Seriously. I know Jackro says when he's at home, he like purposely plays at like a disadvantage just to always be practicing for when he's playing on
Oh yeah.
LAN, which I mean, that makes sense. Because here's the other thing. In as of now, LAN Counter Strike is the only thing that really matters if you are a serious player. Like, if you're
Yep.
trying to be a serious player, online just doesn't matter. And especially with how compromised online FPS gaming is in a competitive setting, and especially in Counter Strike, it's just hard. Like it's hard
Yeah.
for online tournaments, especially in our region, to get VRS points. So your only VRS points are going to be on LAN. Like we're working on it, but it's LAN is the most important thing. Don't forget that, kids. Okay. Now, if you didn't know this, Will, I'm just laying it down with Big D into a big LAN promotion. Not even necessarily just Frag. I am obviously a big fan of Frag, and hella support those guys and encourage everybody to go to them. But just LAN in general, go down and hang out with your friends and play Counter Strike in person. It's a really really important experience.
Yep.
And that brings me back to Big Willie's story here. What happened after Frag 19? Because you guys didn't have Sonzik for anybody that's been following you for a while. Give us the lore on what happened with the team after Frag 19.
Yeah, so after we did in our heads well at Frag 19 for having stand-in and basically our best map taken out of the pool. Um we we had some conversations because of the VRS rules now. A lot of the tournaments are only 16 plus, and sort of the whole reason we had went to Frag 19 was to get VRS and become a VRS ranked team. And sort of when we got home, we like started to realize every tournament was you cannot be or you have to be 16 or over. And we were fine with that originally. And we started just playing with like our coach Trakes, who was also our stand in for Frag. But we weren't getting the results obviously we wanted. We were always like one stage away from qualifying. And we always had felt like that maybe if we had Andre, it would have been like a little bit different. Um Andre is Sanzik, sorry. And after I think like I don't even know which quality it was. Um one of the qualities we had sort of all agreed that we wanted to bench Andre Sanzik just for until he had turned 16. Um but around that time I feel like all the rosters were kind of like being finalized, so there was no really good like outstanding player to who was looking for a team. So we had all decided that it was going to be better for us if we just went our separate ways. People were getting offers from different teams, and it just wasn't it just wasn't it at the time. In my opinion, it just sort of felt like a waste of time as like the week went on. And advanced doesn't mean anything anymore. Um, so the only thing we could play with Sontic was advanced. So we decided that we were just gonna disband, and that was it. Seb joined Might. Anthony is, or Ionu is taking a break for probably a few months, and me and Sassy are still looking for teams. I don't know if Sassy is looking for a team or he's taking a break this season. Um, but yeah, that was sort of the whole story.
But Aelor is looking for a
Yes,
team,
yes,
so let it be known.
yes.
Well, that's kind of sad, but I think it's just I definitely don't think it's like the end of the story for any of you by any means. Like it's just things are put on pause. What is next for you? Are you just looking for a team right now? What are there some teams you can tell us you're looking at or trying out for?
Uh, I don't think I can say the two teams I'm looking at because there's like underground stuff that's not been
Ooh, okay. You
released.
can tell me off
Yeah, yeah,
camera,
yeah. I'll tell you off camera, but n- nothing I can say as of right now.
but something big is cooking, people.
Yes. um. So yeah, just playing pugs. I still play pugs with all my teammates or my old teammates, I guess now. Um. And yeah, I don't know. Just playing pugs, trying out for teams. That's what it is right now.
Well, excuse me, I got old man
You're good.
throat. Got to just constantly clear it. It's annoying. I used to sit around and wonder why do old people just constantly clear their
Oh,
throat.
yeah.
You turn 35 and you just find out you just have to clear your throat all the time. It's not dry. It's not. There's just. It must be salival buildup, but this is not a medical podcast nor a medical speculation podcast, so let's not even begin to go there. And it's not a podcast either. This is this is
Just
a
sit
this is a
down.
this is a daytime talk show. That's what it is, baby. Um, well, all right. I only got a couple more questions here for you, Will, and these are
Alright.
the same questions I ask everybody because this has been a good episode, sharing your story and talking about land and whatnot. Um, one, what does your name mean, Aelor? Where does that come from?
So I'm very big. If anyone's seen my weapon skins, they are all uh a Song of Ice and Fire related. It's what the Game of Thrones book or show is based off of. It's the book to
Mm-hmm.
the Game of Thrones show. Big fan of it ever since I was in like ninth grade of high school, 10th grade. Um, and it's just one of the characters in it. So it was like I'd hated my 16-year-old names, and I was like, I just need something new. I'm coming back to CS:GO. Like, n- you know, I didn't think anyone would remember me, so I was like, just go clean slate, something new, and that's what I picked. Nothing. There's no like crazy backstory around it.
This still has a backstory,
Yeah, it has a
and
backstory
and
though. Yeah.
and you told me ninth or 10th grade, and it made me real. When did you graduate high school? 2021.
Yeah.
Good lord,
Yep.
I graduated high school in 2008.
All my. I'm the sixth in a family. Yeah, I'm the
You got a
baby
big
of.
family?
Yeah, yeah. I have five other brothers and sisters. So,
Oh,
and
I
they're
thought
all
you were gonna say
older.
6 boys.
No, 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 no. My mom would die.
How 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 old's your oldest sibling?
30, just turned 30.
Your parents had 6 kids in 8 years?
Yep.
That is wild. You hear about big families and like normally like the baby is like, well, my oldest sibling is like 48, or whatever. But damn, so you all grew up together.
I think it might have been 9 years, but he might be 31. It's hard
Still,
keeping track, but
in
yeah.
less than 10 years, that's a lot. Like you all grew up together. That's
Oh yeah.
that's crazy.
Yep.
All right.
It's
I got one last question here for you. Do you know? Well, okay. Do you even know what my reference is when I say Big Willie style? Do you
I know
know who
Big
Will
Willie is a
Smith is?
player.
Do
Wait, Will
you
Smith?
know who Will Smith?
Yeah.
Do you know that he was a rapper?
I knew he did like a song.
No, dude, he was a rapper. That he was the Fresh Prince with DJ Jazzy
Yeah,
Jeff
yeah, yeah.
back in the day, and then when just went by Will Smith in his rap career in the late '90s, he had an album called Big Willie Style,
Well,
and
he's the
now
goat.
I'm now I feel old. Okay, well your homework is to go listen to Big Willie Style and
I
make that
will.
your entrance. Make one of those songs your entrance songs every time you're at LAN,
My
because we
warm-up
will.
song?
Yeah, we need. I think we should have entrance songs, but a lot of copyright issues with that on Twitch, I'm sure. So,
Yeah.
we'll work on that. But I do have one last question here for you. The main songs, by the way, before we gloss over Big Willie Style, Getting Jiggy with It and Miami. Those were the big hits.
All right.
But getting jiggy with it, especially, dude, that's a banger. Dude, I got it going in my head. Yeah, I'm gonna go listen to it now after this. All right, dude. Yeah. Uh, and they're both. It's very sexy. All his music, very sexy. It gets the people going.
Club
All
music?
right. Huh?
Is that a bit of club music?
Yeah, dude, it's club music. That's yeah, it is. It's good stuff. All right, my
Honestly.
last question here for you, Big Willie style, is uh if you could talk to a younger version of yourself or like half your age or like the younger generation out
16,
there,
15.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking to an impressionable audience here,
Mm-hmm.
what is some advice you would give them? And it can be Counter-Strike related or esports or life or whatever you want it to be related to, but this is your opportunity to get on a soapbox and preach before I kick you off the show.
Really like the question because I've actually thought of this playing with a 15-year-old. I have two different answers or two different like yeah answers. Um,
Lay it down.
so I think when you're 15 and 16, and I'll use Sanzik as an example. Um, it's hard to like sort of pay attention, and if you want to make it far in CS, you sort of like practice is where everything like sort of comes together, and like even like without like team practice, like you have to be practicing by yourself. Pugs are not practice. Pugs are good aim trainers, and that's why you'll see every pug star, he'll do really good in pugs, but he'll never make that next step into ECL, or he'll make that next step into ECL, but can't get, like over the hump to get into like EPL. Um, I think pugs are good, but I think what's more important is team practice, watching demos, watching yourself back after scrims, realizing like maybe 2 to 3 mistakes, write that down in your notes. Don't do those mistakes again the next scrim. build on it. There's nothing that happens overnight. And I think that's what I thought and what a lot of like the younger people think. They think it just like you're doing really good in pugs and then one night you're going to be like everyone's going to know your name and you're going to be in, FPL and you're going to be destroying an FPL. It doesn't work like that. You have to consistently put in the time and practice and be there mentally, and it's just like any other like job. If you want to be successful at it, you just have to put in like you have to give it your full attention for those 4 3 hours, however long your practice is, however long you're watching that demo back for, whatever that is, you have to give it your full attention. And that's something I see a lot of younger generation struggle from. Um which it's not getting better because of stuff like TikTok and like very short attention spans, which is,
I've watched it get worse over the
it
last
yeah.
12 years since I've started playing. Yeah.
So that's, like that's just how it is. And you have to have that self-discipline, which it's very hard when you're young, and that's why you see, like a select few of 16, 17, 18 year olds go through and make a career for themselves, you know? So, that's one of the big things, but something our coach KJ had told me like almost before he was gone, like a month before he had left, was you want things to like if you want things to change in game, or like I had asked him about like sorry, like raging in game, like or like getting upset and letting that like affect you later in the game, or like letting it continually, sorry, affect you. Um and he had said a lot of the things that we struggle with like in the games are stuff that you can like you struggle with outside of life, or like in your life, outside of the game. And he had just given me like a lot of like tips of like self meditation and like box breathing, like all this like stuff that like everyone has heard, and like they're like, oh yeah, but like how could breathing make a difference, or how could like any of this stuff that is outside of CS make a difference? But when you get into like that routine, or like constantly doing something that helps you like in the littlest of ways, is something like really big and will become really big at the like when you do it over time. And like when I first read that, when KJ first sent that to me and like had given me advice, um it was game changer for me. I feel like, and I still am constantly like working on it, and will ask time to time for his help. But that's like something CS players need to realize. Like some of their like either if it's like rage or like not talking a lot, like that's stuff that affects like your real life, and stuff that needs to like not be fixed, but like you have to work on it, like it doesn't fix overnight. You're not going to become a better calmer, like you weren't calming one night and then this is like one of the worst excuses I hate. It's like, oh, this was just a bad night for me. Like what is what does that mean? You have to get yourself in a consistent state that the bad nights are like, like a 1 in 10 thing. And the only way you work on that is working through like all your flaws, because the only time you have bad nights is when, like the usual stuff that always happens to you happens to you. It's never something new. You know, you might get whiffed once, but like that's what I'm talking about, like in the 1 in 10 games. If you don't fix those, like not calming, not focusing on the game, getting mad early and checking out of the game. Like that's stuff that I see those type of players who are like, "Oh, this is a one-off game." That's like the things that are happening to those players, and it's, you know, it happens 4 or 5 out of 10 times because they never fix it and they're just fine with it and they think it's just a bad day. Um so yeah. I mean, all sports athletes, like you'll hear them say the same thing. Like you have to consistently do something day in, you know, day in, day out, every week, um, to be a consistent form of yourself. So yeah, those are like those two things kind of tie together because I think like a lot of the younger people who don't have a lot of like a good attention span are because of, you know, like TikTok, you know, like that's all they enjoy. They don't go outside. They don't, you know, like they get like short form like satisfaction. And when you're practicing or doing anything in like the real life that needs your attention, school, you know, CS practice. I'm naming two things, but um like it's going to affect those things. So, there you go. That's my rant. Sorry.
Stay off TikToks. Take practice seriously. And I'm gonna give a little caveat to the rage thing. It's not something that goes away overnight. And guess what? It's not something that goes away ever. It means you're a very passionate person.
Yeah.
And if you only have rage that is filling you and like often, it means you need like it is going to be a lifelong journey of like working that in a correct direction. Don't shy
Yeah.
away from Counter-Strike because it's rage inducing. Shy away from the rage and figure out how to channel it into being productive energy for yourself, because I am somebody who I says rage. I mean, I smashed the shit out of the carrying case for the Nintendo 64 when I was like 7 years old, playing Rugrats in Paris, the video game. On like the final boss was too much, and like I've dealt with this rage issue since I was a little kid. I see it in other little kids. I think there's a lot of like a whole discussion to be had about whether or not like, oh well, are video games good for us if they work us up that much? Sure, let's have that discussion somewhere. But in the meantime, these kids that do feel that like sense of rage, that's not exclusive to video games in their life. It's going to be manifest itself in other ways in their life. And if video games can be somewhere that like Counter-Strike has been that thing that allowed me to work through that rage. And now I take that because it's all energy. And I
Yeah.
take that passion and that energy and I put it into casting or going to LAN events or doing this. As I do this a lot because this is it feels good to get to do this. I'm focusing my energy on something positive instead of just sitting and pugging all day,
Yeah.
every day, hoping that I'm going to hit FPL at some point, then get noticed and then get there. But whatever stream of consciousness thought that happens in my head, that happens in all of our heads when we're sitting there and playing, like you said, that's not how you're going to do it. Channel your passion and your rage and your energy into good practice and taking care of yourself instead of letting it eat away at you. So I think that's wonderful advice that you shared there, Will.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. All right, dude. Well, before you go, you got any just like Hot Ones, this camera, this camera, this camera. You got any shout outs or plugs you want to give before we dip out of here?
um hmm. Not on a team, so I can't even shout out don't work. But I don't know. If you want to hit me up, still looking for a team. Um Advanced playoffs plus. um and if you want to follow me on Twitter, Aelor CS. That's it.
Hell yeah. And shout out Dakota. He meant
Yes.
to.
Shout out Dakota.
The
My
go
little
the
retake demon.
more like Dakota, am I
Yeah, he
right?
is the goat. He's the
All
goat.
right. We're all gonna see him at when's it, I gotta hit that guy up and find out when his wedding is. I wanna go. We all need to go.
I
Turn it
will be
into a
there.
LAN party. Are you gonna be there? When is it?
Some time in September, some like mid-September, I think.
This year?
It's in like
Where is it? Is it up in Washington?
yeah. I don't know
Oh,
exactly
good
where, but
Lord. I'm not
just
going
text
to
them.
Washington.
Yeah,
I'm not going to Washington. I got to go to. Will we see you in Knoxville?
potentially. It just depends if I have a team or I have 3 people that like I care. Like it just depends.
Well,
It
Knoxville's almost full up. There's some slots open again, but Knoxville's happening in a few weeks here.
yeah, we'll see. I
We'll
might,
see.
I might not. We'll see. It kind
All
of
right, this
touches
is
in.
conversation we can have off
Yeah.
off cam. All right, thank you so much for joining us. That is it.